Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time, welcome to my channel. It's called a Redhead Rants for a reason. It's because I'm a natural redhead, obviously not this color, and I like ranting about things. Mostly politics, and just other things that kind of piss me off. This is rant number 2, which is going to be about the Second Amendment and gun control from a Canadian's perspective. Because I'm Canadian and that's the only perspective I have. I just want to start off by saying I used to be really anti-gun. And that's because I was really uneducated. I didn't know anything about guns. I didn't know anything about the Second Amendment. And I didn't understand them. They fought the British for their country. Canada, we're still kind of owned by the British. We kind of just rolled over. But the Americans fought for their freedom. People are like, oh, are you dumb enough to think that your government's gonna try to go against you and blah blah blah, and it's like, you know what, it happened in World War II. I'm sure there's a lot of people that lived in Germany that weren't happy when it became fucking Nazi Germany. So yeah, it can happen, and to think it can't happen again is just ignorant. I mean, well, oh, we're so woke that it's not gonna happen. It could happen. It could totally happen. And just because, like, if your team is in power doesn't mean another team can't take over and then it could happen. So yeah, they're correct. This is, well, side note, liberals, if you really think Trump is Hitler, like literally Hitler, why do you want to give the government your guns? So Owen Benjamin has a hilarious video called It's Time, and how it's time to give our guns to Hitler. And I think it's amazing because that's basically what liberals are saying. It's like, we don't trust the government, but the government's the only people that should have guns. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I know people are getting pissed off at those, I don't know if they're kids, I don't know how old the students are, but it seems to be the same, like, basic, like the same 4 students that are going around all of the media and talking about what happened. And they have a right to talk about what happened. Everybody has a right to free speech, but they don't have a right to be heard. They don't. So, just because they're talking doesn't mean you have to listen to them. I mean, if their arguments are valid, then listen to people, but if they have an invalid argument or they're just uninformed, I mean, they went through a horrible tragedy and I feel bad for them, of course I do. But that doesn't give you some sort of authority over anything. Like, you can talk about your sad experience, of course, but that doesn't make you all of a sudden have some sort of moral authority on guns. I don't know how to say it other than that. I mean, I feel bad for the kids, but I don't think they're right in everything they're saying, and I think it's a bit weird that we're only hearing from these 4 kids. Because I don't know how people can go and blame the NRA every single time this happens. As far as I know, not one of these shooters, these mass shooters, in history has ever been a member of the NRA. So I don't really know why we're blaming the NRA. It's like the one group that's blamed for everything that they've had no role in at all. And actually there was the one man in Texas who was an NRA member that ran out to try to save people from a church shooting. And I recently saw somewhere on Twitter, some person was saying, oh, that one doesn't count because he went after the guy left the church. And it's like, oh, how convenient for you that you can just keep changing the rules to suit your narrative. Like, if someone on the right tries to do that, they'd be like, try again, you can't do that, you can't keep changing the rules. So because the guy was not in the fucking church, that means his heroism didn't count, okay? Fuck that. That's retarded. I'm not accepting that. He was a hero, and he went to go save people. He heard bullets, and he ran towards that, not away from it. How many of us could do that? I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. I'd like to think I could. I'd like to think I was a good enough person. And if I was trained, sure. But how many people would do that? Obviously not the four deputies that were waiting outside the Parkland shooting, the school. They're just waiting outside. I don't know, like I don't know if all the news is in, but to me that seems really bizarre and suspicious. I'm not saying this whole thing was, like, staged, because I don't believe that at all. But I think it's a bit weird. Like, are we supposed to believe that there was 4 cowards in that police department? Like, 4 of them showed up at the scene and 4 of them refused to go in? I like to think we could get better results for people from the general population. At least one of them, if they all had guns, I'm guessing at least one would go in if they heard children being murdered. I don't think they would just sit outside. And if they do have 4 cowards on their police team, or the police department, then they need to look at what's going on there, because that's disgusting. And the people that are going around saying, oh, that just proves that a hero with a gun can't do anything? No. Or a good guy with a gun? No, because those guys were clearly not good guys with guns, were they? They were fucking cowards with guns, and they did nothing to stop what happened. That's what they were. A good guy with a gun could have stopped that, absolutely. If you're saying, oh, those guys, they can't be expected to do that. Okay, well, first of all, that was their fucking job. Yeah, they can be expected to do that. If you don't want to do that, don't take the fucking job. Don't take that job that you're supposed to, when you're supposed to protect people, if you have no interest in protecting people. You shouldn't be doing that. And talk about courageous. The gym teacher shielded the kids, from my understanding. Like, he gave his life for those kids. That's courageous. He didn't even have a fucking gun. So the people that are saying, oh, we shouldn't arm teachers, a lot of those teachers and students showed heroism that the police department did not show that day. So why wouldn't we give them guns? I'm not saying give guns to everybody, but if they're trained, why not? There's got to be a certain percentage of teachers and whatever and staff that have firearms at home anyway. So why can't we just let them have a concealed carry? I don't understand that. That seems like common sense. Like, why can't we give the innocent people weapons to defend themselves? This is the main problem with the whole gun control debate, is you keep forgetting that innocent people have a right to protect themselves and their lives and their children and their property and whatever. They have a right to protect that. So why are we going to say, oh, they can have a fucking baseball bat while the criminals have guns? Does that make sense to anyone? Because it doesn't make any fucking sense to me. If criminals have guns, I want a fucking gun. That's why I haven't felt the need to get one yet here in Canada. Because it doesn't seem that scary. But if it got scary, for sure I'd get a gun. I have fucking pepper spray in my keychain. I'm not supposed to, but I don't give a shit. If someone assaults me, I'll fucking spray them and worry about the consequences later. I'm sorry, but everybody outweighs me by 50 pounds at least. Do you think I don't want to have something like a way to defend myself? And feminists that don't think women should be armed, a gun is the ultimate equalizer. Why shouldn't women be armed? If you want to support women and stop all of the attacks that are happening, then maybe women should be armed. And instead of the Me Too movement, how about the Not Me movement? Because that's an interesting one, where they are trying to get women and girls to have firearms. That one I support, the Not Me. And the other thing people are talking about is where's the stats of when, guns have been used to defend people. And as it's shown from the church shooting, how it didn't count because the guy was already outside the church at the time. It doesn't matter how many stats you show these people, they're not going to give a shit. They're going to find some way to change the rules or flip the fucking chessboard, because that's what they do. When you can't win, you change the fucking game, right? So I don't know if it matters how many crimes have been prevented by guns to them. I don't know if it matters. I'm sure there are, but the statistics are so all over the place. And who's to say something wasn't prevented by just showing a gun and not shooting anybody? Like these gun owners that have a gun to protect their family that's locked up in their safe, who are they hurting? They're not going around purposely shooting people. Like, I just don't understand the mentality to think that innocent people don't deserve to protect themselves and their children. And if you're going to talk about all the people that are killed, keep in mind that 2/3 are fucking suicides, okay? Yeah, tragic, but is it the same thing? No, it's not. So when you go around and you have these fake stats, it's kind of hard to take you seriously. Because you're obviously in it for a certain agenda when you don't tell the truth. So, I don't know, the fucking gun control thing just really pisses me off. Because I feel like a lot of people are uneducated. And I think that's what Stephen Crowder said, is there's two kinds of people. There's gun owners, and there's people that are misinformed and uneducated on guns. And I think that's true for the most part. And especially, oh my god, try getting in conversation in Canada about gun control, forget about it. Everybody's all fucking anti-guns. Except for, there's like some hunters and stuff that are pro-guns. And I met some guy that was hilarious, and he was saying like, yeah, you can go get your license in a weekend, and just pay, I think it's like an extra $200 and you can get your handgun license. And I was like, oh, good to know. So, because you never know what's going to happen with Trudeau's government if they're going to start taking rights away from people, and I'm definitely going to go get a gun if that looks like that's going to happen. And I think this is the only thing that was accomplished by, blaming the NRA for everything and trying to boycott the NRA. Like, give me a break. What do you think that's going to accomplish? Boycott the NRA, who doesn't have any sort of hand in these murders, never has. And yeah, they donate to politicians. They donate to politicians that are pro-Second Amendment. The NRA stops giving money to politicians that are pro-Second Amendment. Do you think they're all of a sudden going to become not pro-Second Amendment? How fucking stupid is that? Of course they're going to continue to be pro-Second Amendment. Like, that's fucking think. On social media, those, there's a bunch of those kids, or students, I don't know how old they are, from the school that are going around, they started, like, the boycott the NRA hashtag. And there's a lot of, people jumping on that. So they're trying to get any company that's associated with the NRA to drop them. And from my understanding, these brands like FedEx, or was it United? I don't know, there's an airline that's also affiliated. But it's not like they're taking money from the blood money, as the liberals will say, which is insane. It's not like they're taking money from them. They're just offering discounts to NRA members. This is what's going to happen. All these idiots boycotting the NRA. The companies that cave in are going to lose the NRA members as customers. The list of companies, like people, the liberals keep posting the list of companies, which is good for the other people that are pro-Second Amendment. 'Cause it's like, all right, now I know who caved and who I'm not going to buy from anymore, or who doesn't get my business. And I think that's going to hurt them a lot more in the long run. And the companies that didn't cave, because I don't think FedEx has caved yet. Maybe things have changed since I posted this video. I don't know. But they're going to get a lot more business from people that are pro-Second Amendment. And there's a lot of those people out there. So here's another thing that's kind of pissed me off. Which is like people keep quoting and, oh, the US has so many guns and blah, blah, blah. And they have all these gun crimes. And it's like, yeah, you know what? When you cherry pick your stats, it's pretty easy to point and say, oh yeah, the US has problems with guns. All these other countries don't. Well, you know what? All these other countries have problems with acid attacks, knife attacks, breaking and entering, assault, rape. If you cherry pick your stats, it's pretty easy to point one out. My point is, you know what? Like, so say in Australia, like are you going to break into someone's house if they most likely have a gun at home? Or are you going to break into their house if all they have is a crowbar or maybe a baseball bat? Right? It's not really a threat. So, along with, arming teachers and stuff, I think there needs to be not as many gun-free zones. And I know people are like, oh, more guns isn't the solution. Fuck off. It is. It is the solution. A good guy with a gun can defeat a bad guy with a gun. And if there was a good guy with a gun at the Colorado movie theater, maybe not as many people would have died. Or if there was a guy with a gun at the Pulse nightclub, maybe some people could have been saved. But you don't know, because there wasn't. So, and don't point to these fucking 4 cowards that were part of the police department during the Parkland shooting, because they don't count, right? And that's another good point, actually, if you're waiting on law enforcement to save you, and you get a bunch of cowards, they do sweet dick all. So yeah, maybe other people should be armed, and these things wouldn't happen. Or they wouldn't even go there. I think if we have the airports on lockdown, maybe we should do the same with schools. And just in other soft targets. Maybe we shouldn't have as many gun-free zones. And then I even saw some moron yesterday post that she was worried that the teacher might shoot the student. What a fucking idiot. But she said, she posted something about, she was worried that if the teachers were armed, that either a teacher might get fed up or something, or annoyed, I think, by the student. I mean, I'm sure, if the teachers can get annoyed now and they don't have guns, and you don't really hear about teachers, throwing chairs at students all that often, if ever. So, I don't really know if that's a valid concern that a teacher might shoot the fucking students. Meanwhile, these teachers, actually risk their lives to save these kids. But they might be having bad. Maybe Mrs. Smith didn't take her Midol before she went to school, and she just is having a bad day and decides, I've had enough. That's enough, Timmy. I've had enough of your lip for the day. Oh my god. Yeah, that bitch was good for a laugh. So, sometimes stupid people are hilarious. Anyway, I think that's all I gotta say about that. So, yeah, I don't know, comment. If it's like super negative, like, you're a stupid bitch, I'm probably just gonna fucking delete it. I mean, if it's like constructive criticism, fine. But I mean, if it's just like, you're a whore or something. Oh, someone sent me a, a video. And it was, they're like, oh, here's a video for you. And it was Nicki Minaj, stupid hoe. It's like, I guess I'm supposed to be offended, but I give zero fucks. So, yeah, whatever. But yeah, so, I mean, if you want, you know, to have, like, an actual conversation or have any advice, or suggestions or whatever, I don't know, post it down wherever, I don't know, wherever the fuck the comment section is. I'm sure you can figure it out. Yeah, so comment, subscribe to me, that would be sweet. And I have Twitter and Instagram, and it's the same thing, a Redhead Rants, all together, no spaces. And yeah, maybe you'll see my next video.